The world of celebrities is a kaleidoscope of glamour, ambition, humanity, and resilience. Imagine a stage that never dims, where dreams are forged from humble beginnings in small towns or rough neighborhoods. Yet from dawn, they chase stars not just in the sky, but on screens, stages, runways, and stadiums. We begin with someone born in modest surroundings, say a child of immigrants in Queens, or a young soul in Mumbai, whose voice soared above everyday noise, who practiced scales by candlelight, or danced barefoot on dusty streets they dared to believe that beauty, talent, or purpose could lift them beyond circumstance. And then we see that belief rewarded many years later with a breakout film or hit single that seems to come from nowhere, but carries the weight of every sacrifice made backstage, the endless rehearsals, the closed doors, the rejections, the ones who were told no, until finally a yes ignited everything. And yet success is not a destination. It is a journey filled with setbacks, scandals that test integrity or health or relationships, but also with comebacks that redefine legacy. Consider stars in Hollywood who lost their footing, then returned stronger with roles that remind us why we fell for them in the first place, and scenes that haunt and inspire. Or think of global icons from South Korea or Africa or Latin America, whose creativity crosses oceans, whose fashion choices set trends not just in magazines, but in the streets where ordinary people make couture of thrift store finds and remixing tradition with modern edge. The catwalk becomes a runway into identity. The red carpet, a canvas for storytelling where a dress or suit can speak louder than words about roots. Community purpose. Philanthropy. Because many celebrities do not just wear for attention. They wear for causes for change. When they lend their name, their time to charity, building schools, feeding children, protecting animals, raising awareness for justice or mental health or climate. Their wealth of visibility becomes a resource for good, and where there is light, there are shadows, controversies, sometimes safe ones like faux pas or misquotes or clashes over art or politics, sometimes deeper troubles that demand reckoning, accountability. Lessons learned publicly or privately, but the ones who weather storms with humility grow connection with fans and influence deeper than fame. Think of messages written by people recovering from illness or isolation, when someone's story of overcoming addiction or adversity reaches a fan in a different place or culture and shows them they are not alone. Those are moments when celebrity becomes human and powerful. Consider also fan interactions, from autograph lines to virtual meet and greets, to social media replies, sometimes awkward, sometimes magical. When a fan meets their idol and discovers kindness, or when a tweet or live stream becomes solace to someone unseen. Until that moment across the US and beyond, we have celebrities who came from homelessness or poverty, then turned that into motivation. Not shame actors, dancers, singers, athletes who trained without support, whose families worked extra jobs, whose failures were public, but whose resilience became their brand in quiet ways, in joyful ways, in brave ways. Then there are growth moments, when celebrity admits mistakes, apologizes when fashion missteps become learning about cultural sensitivity, when roles once lauded become re-examined, when privilege is acknowledged and used for advocacy or shared advantage or mentorship. Global superstars from Bollywood, Nollywood, K-pop, Latin stars in Barcelona, Seoul, Lagos, Rio, or Lagos, whose fame pulses in different rhythms, whose artistry carries tradition and innovation, whose challenges might include language barriers, culture clashes, or typecasting, yet whose triumphs reverberate globally. Perhaps someone who begins singing in local dialect, then makes albums that top global charts, or an actor in a telenovela whose performance becomes a symbol of empowerment for women, or marginalized people, or LGBTQ+ communities, or people facing mental health struggles or economic hardship. There are iconic moments too, the first award win, the performance so electrifying that audiences gasp, the acceptance speech that reduces grown people to tears, the fashion moment at the Met Gala that defines an era, the historic first role for a group or country in a major film franchise, the victory after years of rejection, or invisibility. Then there's love stories in the celebrity world, not always perfect, but often resilient couples who support each other behind the scenes, perhaps someone whose spouse manages their finances or helps raise children while they travel, or who collaborates creatively, ensuring two artists grow together, not apart. There are couples who use humor in interviews to show how grounded they are, even when paparazzi flashbulbs go off. There are those moments when personal life becomes public, both blessing and burden, but also when boundaries are drawn, when children are protected from media until they are ready, when love is celebrated quietly, not for headlines. And there are those who reinvent themselves mid-career, who pivot from acting to producing to entrepreneurship, who launch fashion lines, fragrance foundations, tech startups, or become activists whose platform becomes broader than entertainment, music, or film. They might face critics about authenticity or oversaturation. Yet when rooted in passion, those reinventions bring real legacy, from Oprah to Beyoncé to Priyanka Chopra, Jonas to Lionel Messi, crossing into philanthropy or politics, to Malala Yousafzai, whose celebrity was born from advocacy, whose courage inspires others across continents. All these stories share threads: courage, persistence, kindness, and purpose. And though celebrity seems always about spotlight, there are thousands of people behind the scenes whose work supports every performance, every outfit, every campaign, who often go unnamed, yet whose loyalty and artistry make the lights shine brightest. And through it all, audiences see reflections of themselves: hope, ambition, love, failure, redemption. And when a star falls or fades off stage, the memory lingers still, because success isn't measured only in awards or sales or followers, but in the lives changed, the standards lifted, the hearts touched, the barriers broken by someone who once dared to dream and believed that story mattered. So in this world of celebrities, what matters most is not perfection but persistence. Not the applause at the climax, but the small voices thanked in whispers. Not the scandals that make headlines, but the honesty that restores trust. Not the fashion photos, but the confidence those images give to someone who has never felt seen. Not the red carpets, but the steps taken backstage, where kindness is sometimes the rarest costume, yet perhaps the most important one of all. And as the story continues, we drift into another world stage where athletes become celebrities, not only for breaking records, but for breaking barriers. Think of Serena Williams with every serve, every victory, showing young girls everywhere that strength and elegance can live together. Or LeBron James, whose path from Akron to the NBA throne is not only about championships, but about building schools, giving back, and lifting communities. Then cross the ocean to Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, two legends whose rivalry gave football fans a generation of awe, but beyond goals, they give to hospitals, foundations, and children's causes, reminding us that even the brightest stars are human when they reach out a hand or a heart in the music world. We hear voices that transform moments into lifetimes, like Taylor Swift writing lyrics that feel like diary pages, yet echo through stadiums where thousands sing in unison, or Beyoncé, whose artistry is not only performance, but a cultural movement, celebrating identity, empowerment, and global unity. We turn to Asia, where K-pop groups like BTS and Blackpink create not just songs, but worldwide family connections, fans from every continent feeling like part of something bigger. And those artists respond with gratitude, with charity, with sincerity, proving fame is strongest when shared with love. Latin America brings us Shakira, whose rhythms carry both joy and activism. Her hips may move the world, but her heart moves classrooms and opportunities for children, or J Balvin and Bad Bunny, who show that representation matters, that language is no wall for art. As global charts now embrace Spanish like never before, shifting back to Hollywood, the film industry thrives on reinvention. Stories like Robert Downey Jr., once at the bottom, rising to embody Iron Man and becoming symbol of second chances, or Keanu Reeves, whose humility, kindness, and generosity off-screen make him as beloved as any role from Neo to John Wick. Then there is the magic of women breaking ceilings. Viola Davis, making history with awards; Lupita Nyong'o, bringing authenticity and grace; Zendaya, redefining what it means to be a young star. Respected beyond her years, we cross to India, where Bollywood stars, like Shah Rukh Khan, the king of romance, or Priyanka Chopra, Jonas, who bridged cultures to become a global icon, show that cinema has no borders. Africa offers brilliance too, with Lupita Nyong'o, Burna Boy, Wizkid, all showing artistry that carries heritage and modern power together. Back in fashion, we celebrate icons like Rihanna, who turned music into entrepreneurship and launched a beauty brand that shifted an entire industry toward inclusivity, or Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, who together push fashion into youthful, brave, daring territory, turning red carpets into stages for art and individuality. And then charity flows again through every continent. Oprah Winfrey, whose journey from poverty to empire is lined with schools in South Africa scholarships and global philanthropy, or Angelina Jolie traveling to refugee camps not as a star, but as a human, bringing visibility to the unseen. The safe controversies along the way remind us celebrities are not flawless. They may stumble, misstep, but when they learn publicly, When they apologize, when they grow, they model accountability for millions. The fan interactions keep reminding us what this all means. That moment when Lady Gaga hugs a fan who says her music saved their life, or when Ed Sheeran appears unannounced at a wedding singing a couple's first dance, or when a young fan tweets at their idol and receives a response that lights up their world. Small gestures, big impacts, inspirational journeys never stop because, even today, new voices rise. Billie Eilish with her whisper-like songs, shifting industry standards, or actors like Florence Pugh, bringing intensity, authenticity to every role, or young athletes like Simone Biles, teaching the world that mental health is part of strength as much as physical power, and achievements keep stacking. Olympic medals, Grammys, Oscars, but also humanitarian awards, community recognition. Simple thanks from those whose lives are better, because a celebrity used their influence for good. And as we weave these stories together, we see a tapestry of ambition, courage, kindness, and creativity. A reminder that the celebrity world is not only about lights and cameras, but about mirrors reflecting who we are and windows opening who we might become. And the journey of celebrities keeps unfolding like a storybook with countless chapters, because each new generation introduces voices, faces, and talents that bring fresh color to the canvas. Take, for instance, Zendaya, who began as a Disney Channel star and blossomed into an Emmy-winning actress and fashion icon, representing a young generation that values authenticity and courage. Or Timothée Chalamet, who with his delicate artistry and daring style has become a symbol of vulnerability and modern masculinity. Then there are international voices like Anya Taylor-Joy, whose performances bridge cultures, or Park Seo-joon, whose Korean dramas capture hearts across continents and soon will be seen in global blockbusters, reminding us how art transcends borders and languages. As we drift through these stories, we remember the importance of music, where voices like Adele touch hearts with raw emotion, her songs turning heartbreak into collective healing, or Bruno Mars, who brings joy, energy, and timeless grooves to every stage performance. Latin music expands further with Karol G, Rosalía, and Camila Cabello, showing that female voices from Spanish-speaking worlds can electrify arenas worldwide and inspire empowerment. With every lyric, fashion once again becomes its own language, with stars like Harry Styles wearing skirts, pearls, and bold prints, proving that clothing is not bound by gender, but by expression. Or Billy Porter, whose red carpet appearances are statements of courage, creativity, and pride. And then we turn to charitable actions, which remind us that beneath the glitz there is a heartbeat. Think of celebrities like Chance the Rapper donating millions to public schools, or Selena Gomez speaking openly about mental health and funding research, or Leonardo DiCaprio, who uses every platform to warn about climate change and protect the earth. It is not about perfection, but persistence, about using fame as a tool for something greater. And yet, controversies also shape these journeys. Sometimes misunderstandings, sometimes artistic choices debated by critics. But when handled with grace, they add layers to the story of growth, resilience, and reinvention. Consider how Miley Cyrus shifted from Disney star to rebellious performer, and then to a respected musician using her voice for causes like LGBTQ advocacy, or how Justin Bieber navigated the turbulence of youth fame to emerge with music that speaks of maturity, faith, and love. Fan interactions, too, become legendary. Think of Tom Hiddleston pausing to chat with fans outside a theater, or Doja Cat responding with humor and wit online, or Rihanna, who surprises shoppers by walking into her own store and chatting like an old friend. These moments build bridges, reminding fans that their admiration is not one-sided but shared and cherished. Inspirational journeys appear everywhere, like Demi Lovato, who openly shares struggles with addiction and mental health, transforming pain into strength for countless listeners, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who rose from football rejection to wrestling superstardom to Hollywood, while always emphasizing gratitude, family, and hard work. Achievements never cease, with Oscars won by new talents like Michelle Yeoh making history, or Olympic triumphs by Naomi Osaka. Blending tennis excellence with activism, or Greta Thunberg, whose celebrity is rooted in climate action, showing the world that young voices can command global attention and respect in every story. Whether it is about film or music or fashion or sports, we see the same thread: human beings daring to dream, falling, learning, rising again, and shining brighter than before. And it is this resilience, this unbreakable spark, that keeps the audience scrolling, listening, watching, inspired. Because beyond the headlines and the glamour, the essence of celebrity is the reminder that extraordinary journeys begin in ordinary places and with ordinary people who simply refused to give up. And as we wander deeper into the realm of celebrities, we find that some of the most captivating stories are not only about individual triumphs, but also about the bonds of love and friendship that withstand the pressures of fame. Because behind the flashing lights are couples who remind the world that partnership can be both grounding and inspiring. Think of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, whose playful humor and unwavering support for one another have become as iconic as any film or fashion moment. They share their joy with fans, but also keep their family life protective and private, showing balance between public persona and personal sanctuary. Or David and Victoria Beckham, who turned a love story from the 90s into a modern empire blending sports music, fashion, and philanthropy. Their relationship proving that endurance and growth are possible even under endless scrutiny. Then there is Beyoncé and Jay-Z, who despite challenges stand as a creative power couple, building legacies not only with albums and tours, but with foundations, businesses, and cultural influence across generations. These love stories intertwine with the spirit of comebacks because fame rarely follows a straight line. Robert Downey Jr., returning from personal battles to redefine blockbuster cinema as Iron Man. Mariah Carey, once underestimated only to reclaim her throne with powerful vocals and resilience. Britney Spears, whose journey sparked global conversations about freedom, independence, and the power of fans to uplift a star who once seemed trapped. The comebacks are reminders that failure does not have to be final, but can instead be a prelude to greater chapters. Award shows become natural stages for these moments of reinvention. Think of Lady Gaga standing at the Oscars, her voice trembling as she sang Shallow while the audience rose in ovation, or Leonardo DiCaprio finally receiving his long-awaited Oscar, thanking not only his peers but also raising awareness about the environment, turning personal victory into a global message. Or when Michelle Yeoh accepted her Oscar with words that inspired every dreamer who felt overlooked. And then the golden moments of the Grammys, when artists like Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo stunned the world by sweeping categories at such young ages, proving that fresh voices can still dominate industries built on tradition. The Emmys, with unforgettable speeches like those of Viola Davis and Zendaya speaking to representation and possibility beyond the screen. These ceremonies are not just about trophies, but about cultural shifts where acceptance speeches become manifestos and performances become time capsules. And throughout it all, fans watch, cry, cheer, and celebrate as if the victories were their own, because in a way they are. Achievements become shared experiences. Comebacks inspire audiences to believe in second chances. Love stories remind them that connection matters more than perfection, and iconic award show moments cement the idea that art can capture history in a single evening. And as the stars continue to rise and fall and rise again, the larger truth remains. The world of celebrities is not about distance, but about closeness. It is not about idols on pedestals, but about humans who shine so that others might dare to shine too. And when we look beyond solo achievements, we find that some of the most powerful moments in the celebrity world come from friendships and collaborations. Because when artists join forces, the result is often bigger than any one career. Think of Elton John and Lady Gaga, whose musical bond produced performances filled with passion and mutual admiration, or Drake and Rihanna, whose chemistry on stage turned songs into cultural milestones. Then there is the friendship between Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, childhood companions who wrote their way into Hollywood history with Good Will Hunting, and decades later still celebrate each other's victories. Or Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez, two stars who publicly support one another through every chapter, showing fans that loyalty and friendship can outshine drama and gossip in sports too. Friendships build legacies like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, whose partnership defined basketball greatness, or Serena and Venus Williams, whose sisterhood and rivalry elevated tennis while inspiring millions. Collaborations across borders remind us that art is a global language. Think of Shakira and Beyoncé joining for Beautiful Liar, or BTS performing with Coldplay on My Universe, showing that music can connect cultures across oceans in film. There are ensembles that feel like family, the Marvel cast supporting each other on and off screen, or Fast and Furious stars who turn a franchise into a brotherhood. These relationships highlight that fame does not have to isolate, but can create communities that push culture forward. And culture is where celebrities often leave their deepest mark. When actors, musicians, athletes, and influencers take a stand, they help shift public conversation, whether it is Muhammad Ali refusing to fight in a war he did not believe in, or celebrities today speaking for mental health, racial justice, equality, and climate change. Stars amplify messages that might otherwise be ignored. Take Greta Thunberg, whose voice, though young, shook governments, or Malala, whose advocacy for education made her not just a global leader but a celebrity of courage, or Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, who stepped away from royal tradition to build a life of independence while raising awareness for mental health and social issues. Collaborations also extend into philanthropy, like global concerts for relief where countless stars unite for charity, or designer partnerships that create clothing lines, raising funds for research and disaster recovery. Every handshake, every duet, every joint appearance becomes more than entertainment. It becomes a reminder that unity fuels progress, and through these connections, audiences feel included, fans become part of movements, retweeting, reposting, echoing the voices of their heroes, and in turn, celebrities find strength in knowing they are not alone. Because even under pressure, even under scrutiny, the bonds they form often become lifelines. Cultural change never happens overnight, but celebrities accelerate it by making big issues relatable, by putting a face to a cause, by sharing their own vulnerabilities and triumphs. And when stars collaborate not only with one another but with their fans, the world sees that fame can be a bridge, not a wall. And these friendships, collaborations, and movements continue to shape the global stage today, tomorrow, and beyond.